And we are here at boy, what a nice tour we just had here at A Place for Us Ministries.
That's right.
It's what a beautiful, beautiful home here, and what an opportunity during Right for Life month here. What do you have to say about what you've seen here today, Jeff?
Well, first of all, I am a strong advocate for life, and we have visited over the past few days a number of crisis pregnancy centers and places such as A Place for Us Ministries that are supporting women who are making choices to not terminate pregnancy, to go through with the birth of the child and making life decisions about whether to be a parent of that child or whether to offer that parent for adoption. And in South Carolina, we've got a lot of very willing couples that are willing to adopt babies and help rear those children in very loving and Christian environments, and to support, for me to visit a place like Place for Us Ministries and see what this ministry is about. And they are helping educate those women, about their pregnancy and about the life that's inside of them, about helping them make those decisions of whether to keep the child or to put it up for adoption, and letting them understand the different caveats and aspects of both. And, child rearing is a difficult thing. As a parent of 3 boys that are very scrapping, you sing our Christmas card, they're getting big. They're bigger than Dad now. So I understand this. Raising children is tough. But
how is Parker doing?
Parker's doing great. Parker and I just spent a week together, a little father-son trip, and he's my youngest, and something I've done with my other 2 boys, and they're doing great. Yeah, he's my deputy chief of staff, by the way.
Well, we have pictures of him answering the phone up here. Right. It was a year ago, back in January 5th to be exact, when we were broadcasting from your office.
That's right, a year ago. It's hard to believe that I've been a congressman representing the 3rd District for a whole year now, but I've been blessed and honored to do that, and I look forward to this next year as we approach a lot of challenges that the country faces.
Well, speaking about this coming year, what do you think you guys are going to be able to accomplish up there?
Well, it's very difficult, as we talked about before, to accomplish anything when you've got a very divided United States Congress, and that you've got Republican-controlled House, and which has been very prolific, I think, in passing legislation out of the House. But it goes to the United States Senate, and it dies there. Harry Reid has refused to bring up a lot of legislation that we passed out of the House that is common sense about American energy independence and ending a moratorium and putting Americans back to work and job creation legislation. The only thing that's really passed the whole United States Congress, and that's the House Senate signed by the President, legislation dealing with spending and borrowing. And as folks that know me understand that I've been up there championing that we've got to cut spending. We cannot continue going down this path of spending money we don't have. We've had the debt ceiling discussion. I voted against that. I'm very proud that all of my colleagues in the state have, and I put a plug in for them that I have a great delegation that I serve under with Tim, Scott, Mick Mulvaney, Tony Gowdy, and Joe Wilson. And it's good to have allies when you're going about it.
Yes, support. But my question is, how can we get something accomplished? Just being able to say no doesn't seem to be moving our country forward, does it?
Thank goodness we're there. You think about it. We've changed the conversation. It's now not, the conversation now is not about how much can we spend. The conversation is how much can we cut. We are a stopgap measure of some of the very poor policies that were coming out of Washington. And if you know me, I spelled that before, P-O-R, Pelosi, Obama, and Reid policies that were bankrupting this country. Thank goodness we have a Republican-controlled House that were able to change that conversation and change the debate, and now begin talking about where we can make cuts and where we can rein in government spending and rein in the growth of government in order to do things right and save our nation.
So we're talking about a $1.2 trillion increase to the debt ceiling.
Well, that's all part of the Budget Control Act, which was the debt ceiling debate we had back in August. We finally had a debate, though. If you think about it, this summer it was all about, is it the right thing for this nation to borrow more money than it can afford to pay back? And we weren't there, and the debate probably would have never happened. They would have raised the debt ceiling, it would have passed through under the radar of the American people, and our nation would be in more debt without a single word being uttered as to whether that's the right thing or not. Because we were there, we were able to raise the awareness in the American public, raise the awareness within the media, to start having that conversation about what the true amount of the debt is and how we're going to try to rein that in and what we're going to do going forward. Because we're going to hit that debt ceiling again where we are. And we're going to have this argument again, we're going to have this debate. And we also had an influence, I think, on the process, and that we got the Speaker and the leaders to agree to put a balanced budget amendment process within that Senate debate. Now, some kind of delegation still voted against it, but we definitely had an impact on getting that component within that bill.
So what do you think you're going to be able to get accomplished, though? Since we have an election, we have all this primary stuff, we've got the election. Is anything, I've talked to others about this, is anything going to be able to get accomplished this year?
I think an accomplishment is stopping the spending. I'll go back to that. I stand firm on the fact that it's not a do-nothing Congress, but if you want to say that we are a do-nothing Congress, well, thank God that we are. I mean, thank God that we don't have Obamacare or Dodd-Frank or perpetual spending going through so easily. That we're there making, changing the conversation. And so I think that's an accomplishment in itself, that the debate has changed. When you want to talk about true accomplishments, bills that have passed all of Congress and signed by the President, it depends on what your marker of achievement is.
What do you think about the pipeline? Do you think that's going to go through? I think, if I remember correctly, that was tied to the 2-month payroll extension here. Do you think there's going to be movement on that? I mean, there's so many job possibilities on that are, quote, shovel ready.
Right, and it will be part of that. I believe at the end of the day that the Keystone XL pipeline will be a part of that legislation, and it will move forward because I believe the President and the Democrats in the Senate have felt during this period of time that it's the right thing for America. You can either be for jobs or you can be for radical environmentalism, which can be for both. They're mutually exclusive. And so I think it will be a part of that. And I was disappointed that we didn't have a whole year long extension of payroll tax holiday.
I think a lot of people feel it's just going to be, you're going back, on the 17th?
Going back Tuesday, yeah.
17th. And then what's going to be the discussing that to try to get that done?
That should be off our plate right now. We should have dealt with it in December, which we try to do. But it is going to be back on our plate. And then something else that's going to be on our plate now is the fact that our President has thumbed his nose at the Constitution. He's thumbed his nose at the checks and balances by making recess appointments when Congress is in recess. Yeah, that's right. We're not in recess if you look at the historical precedence that's been set. Congress is in a pro forma session. It's happened in the past when George Bush was president. Democrat-controlled Congress, they did exactly what this Congress has done with not recessing for a period longer than 3 days. And the legal department of the administration, both the Bush administration and the Clinton administration, agreed that a pro forma session is a session of Congress, and they haven't recessed for longer than 3 days, and you can't make a recess appointment. This president thumbed his nose at all of that. He set aside the past precedents, the past established norm, and decided on his own, arbitrarily, that he was going to do that we were in recess. That was his opinion, and he was going to make those appointments. So there's going to be a court challenge, there's also going to be a congressional challenge to that.
What do you think about Richard Corday as far as an appointment there?
But you know what? The Constitution says that the President makes appointments with advice and consent of the Senate. And the Senate did not give him their advice, nor did they consent to that gentleman being the head of that agency. In fact, they dissented from that. They rejected, both the bipartisan group rejected his appointment. And the President said, I don't care what the United States Senate says. I'm going to ignore your advice and consent aspect of the United States Constitution. I'm going to do it anyway. And so I think that has probably infuriated not only Republican senators, but senators as a whole, that their powers got weakened by this president. Listen, I want to be very clear. We don't have a dictatorship in this country. We have a republic. We have 3 branches of government with separation of powers, but we also have checks and balances on the other branches.
Do we have separation of powers?
We're supposed to under the Constitution. And I think we do have a true constitutional moment in time. I think we'll look back at this and say that this was a point in time where we're either going to give more power to the executive branch beyond what our founders envisioned, or we're going to rule that power back in and not allow it to be unbridled and really enforce the checks and balances that make this country so unique and so great.
What are you looking forward to as far as what you'd like to see get accomplished in Congress this year?
Well, American energy independence is something that's a passion of mine. Why are we giving hundreds of billions of dollars away to countries that don't like us very much, and some would say hate us? Why are we giving money away in the Middle East when we can buy oil and natural gas here in our own hemisphere? We can buy it from our largest and friendliest trading partner and to the north of Canada. We can keep that money. If we can't have American energy independence, we can definitely have North American energy independence with Canada and Mexico. It just makes sense. So that's what I want to continue trying to push for. And then, of course, reining in the executive branch with the czars, cutting spending, continuing to have that conversation about the United States Senate passed a budget for our nation over 900 days. I don't know what the number is, but it's over 900 days. That ought to be a large enough number by itself without having the exact number.
How can they operate without turning in a budget? How can that happen?
I don't know any businesses or a church or organization and families that really can't operate without a budget and have any semblance of normality.
As you spent a whole year in Washington, D.C., what have you seen, Jeff? I mean, did you go with one idea and see something else? Well, what have you seen? What are you walking away after that?
I didn't go with this this idea that it was all, I was not looking at this job so to speak. I wasn't a naive Mr. Speaker or Washington would change the world because I've been through the legislative process before. But I have been a little overwhelmed that there are 435 of us and even 242 Republicans in our conference aren't all my kind of flavor of Republican. I'm a big conservative. And so I thought we would be more unified as a team for cutting spending and reining in growth government. I haven't seen that. We've seen, I guess, the moderate side of our conference who are in positions of leadership to push through an agenda that's different than what I thought we would do. So I'm a little disenchanted with there, but it just makes me and others have to find other creative ways to continue pushing our message, to continue trying to move forward.
Now, you this weekend, of course, I understand you're going to be at the GOP convention this weekend.
I am.
Yes, you're going to be speaking there. We're going to be there on Sunday.
Super. I'll be down on Sunday and Monday, and looking forward to it.
We'll try to catch up with you there. But, we've got all these candidates coming into South Carolina. I'm a little amazed at how much negative ads are out there. And, of course, that's another subject of discussion. But, Jeff, a week from this Saturday, you're going to have to vote for somebody.
I'm going to have to vote before then. I've got to vote absentee. I'll be here that weekend. So
how are you feeling about the candidates here? Have you found that candidate? The last time we talked, you said you hadn't seen that Reagan-esque candidate, I believe.
I haven't, and I'm glad you mentioned Reagan-esque, because one thing I'm looking for out of a presidential candidate that I haven't seen yet is somebody that will inspire us to greatness again, that will make us feel good about being Americans and can inspire that patriotic fervor. America is the greatest country on the face of the earth and the greatest country that has ever been because we have three little words: we the people, we govern ourselves. And the American experiment has lasted the test of time so far, but how much longer can it when you see the changes we talked about earlier? So what I'm looking for is a candidate that will be bold about what he stands for. It won't carry a banner of pale pastels, but one of bold colors, and can inspire us to American greatness, can talk about American exceptionalism. We didn't get to this point through bailouts or stimulus packages. We got to this point in history through individualism, through entrepreneurialism, through government having a role but it being very limited, and turning loose the enterprises of the free market. And that's really what made America great. And so we need to get back to that point where government fulfills its role, but it doesn't exceed its role. And we need a leader that's going to say, you know what, I recognize what our founders did when they set this country up. We're going to rein in this government. We're going to free the mechanisms of capitalism and free enterprise to really make America great again. And we're going to inspire greatness. We're going to inspire that innovation. And I believe that this thing will take off again if we wants to find that roll back to very limited government. I want the candidate that's going to do that. I want the candidate that's going to inspire that and say America can be great again, and not go around the world apologizing for American greatness, but yet hold that mantle out and make the rest of the world want to be like America again.
Okay, well, we have Mitt Romney as one of our candidates here.
Very capable individual.
Very capable. We have Ron Paul.
Very capable individual.
Rick Santorum.
Very capable.
Newt Gingrich.
Very capable.
Ooh, we got a very capable here.
If you look at, there are merits of all those candidates that are really like.
Rick Perry.
Very capable. I mean,
Yeah, very good.
executive with level experience.
He would send the Congress home for half a year. He would shrink it that way.
Listen, I believe if we did some of that, we could get our work done. I always said that about the General Assembly, too. We were there for 22 weeks, January to June. We could do the same amount of work in about 3 months.
Sure.
And you may have to change some of the meeting schedules and allow committee hearings to happen when we weren't there, but the actual floor work, passing legislation, working through the budget could happen a lot quicker. I believe the United States Congress can do things a lot differently as well. I don't think our founders ever envisioned this being a 365-day-a-year job. It is, because we've allowed it to get that big. Because government's so big. It goes back to that defining role and what the government's supposed to do and what the government is not supposed to do. Government's involved in every aspect of your life right now, and it shouldn't
Yes.
be. And, the sweetener in this tea is regulated by the federal government. And so that comes down to a philosophical view of what government should or shouldn't do. Out of all the presidential candidates, there are attributes that I like of all of them. And I think each of those men, and when Michelle was there, women were very capable of being president of the United States. I think the decision comes down to which one do I feel like, and we as Americans feel like, can lead this nation out of the doldrums that we're in right now. And I haven't seen that inspiration. I've seen qualifications that will make them all good presidents.
So how are you going to make that decision?
I've got a coin in my pocket. I'm going to flip. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to have an opportunity this weekend to visit with some of these candidates. I've visited with a number of them in the past. Of course, Michelle Baca's not in. I talked with her at length. Ron Paul, Herman Cain, when he was in the race, talked with him at length. I've met Newt Gingrich. I've met Mitt Romney. I've yet to talk with Rick Perry and have that opportunity to do that. So John Huntsman is not even, in my mind, a viable candidate. So I don't care whether I talk to him or not. So, at the end of the day, which one can beat President Obama? Which one can take over the White House? I think that's what it comes down to. And I think they're all capable of doing the job. I want to find one that I think can beat the man that's in office right now. And you're not going to get an endorsement from me. So, I know you're fishing, trying to pull that.
I'm not going to get it. Are you going to announce who you are voting when you do make that
I
decision?
probably will not. I don't want to be that much of an influence in this. I've had so many people ask me, who am I voting for? They're in the same position that I am. Constituents around this last week and last couple of weeks. And I told them the same thing. I'm kind of in the hunt and seek mode, and I'm trying to find the right candidate. And I'm amazed that folks are looking at me for my opinion or my advice, and I've never been in that position before, so it's kind of humbling.
So you will be there this weekend. You will be making up your mind. Are you going to support whoever the nominee is, though, for the Republican?
No doubt, and I will encourage all other candidates to rally behind whoever our nominee is, because ultimately the Republican has got to be the Democrat in November.
Just one last, I've been thinking about this since I know you're in a quandary as to who to vote for. Would you vote for, do we need a governing board of presidents? Do we need to put several candidates together into one? That's a unique thought. I just thought of it this morning.
Well, if we could take one of them and inject some of the good qualities of all the others, sure, but we're not going to have that opportunity, and we don't have that time machine or whatever it would take. And I think America, along with me, is looking for that Reagan-esque type person that can communicate well, can be straightforward. I told you before, I was kind of a Chris Christie supporter. I was hoping he was going to get in. I like the way the guy shoots straight, tells it like it is, has the executive branch experience, and would shoot straight with American people. And I think American people generally are tired of all the talking heads and all the interjection of opinions and all that, and the way that they don't feel like they're given the truth from the executive officer or from their congressman. And one thing I try to do, and I think America's looking for their president to do is shoot straight with them. Just tell it like it is. I think we can deal with the truth. And, whether you're talking about foreign policy, or you're talking about American independence, or you're talking about any kind of government regulation, just shoot straight with us.
Absolutely. Well, Jeff, is there anything else you'd like our listeners to know here today? We will be playing this at lunchtime today on Meet Me at the Diner.
Well, I'm in the district this week. I'll be in Greenwood County, McCormick County today, and I'm very honored to serve the folks in the 3rd District in Washington. I hope the first year I've established a brand, so to speak. People understand, how I'm going to vote, the areas I'm going to champion, the topics I'm going to work on for them, carrying their voice. Thank you for trying to get that message out and what's going on in Washington, what the truth is, and talking with all the congressmen from time to time and getting their perspective. I think we do have a Team One South Carolina approach to this, and we want to try to make our nation better, but also keep in mind that we represent our great state of South Carolina, and I represent the 3rd District. So I want to encourage folks to stay in touch with me. We've done 5 teletown halls. We're on Facebook. We have an email broadcast out. We have a website, and if you don't know how I'm voting, why I'm voting, what I've supported, and what I've endorsed, what I've co-sponsored, you just have to look, because we try to make that available and try to communicate that. So I want to thank you for what you've done on behalf of the whole delegation, but definitely for me.
Well, thank you very much. Jeff Duncan, Congressman Jeff Duncan, God bless, and let's hope that we can see some movement this year.
Well, Ann, I hope so. God bless you, and God bless America.
Thank you very much.